The best music for hard-working people. Get the job done with Radio.
And now your featured presentation.
Hey there, rockers! Welcome to Bands, the Good, Bad, and the Ugly with Dr. Dog on the show where we get real about the ups and downs of band life. Your host, Dr. Dog, is locked and loaded. So let's do this.
I have to work with that cunt Magpie. And
oh, Magpie. Is Magpie never on screen with you? Is he never?
no, fuck, he's out always in the field with the goats. Listen to this Magpie, because I get this a lot.
I did think you were a woman. I have seen a few pictures of him online dressed as a woman.
99% of the time he's dressed like a woman, so what does that kind of tell you? You know, I don't know if he's with the goat or the goat's with him. I don't know what thing's going on, but, you know, he always has that woman thing going on. But he's in Switzerland, I'm here, and that's thank the good Lord above.
Crystals singing in the key of A.
and outs, ups and downs of band life. So let's get to it. Let's rock and roll.
A song you just wrapped your head around was Lemuria by Anita Wake. And Anita Wake and Rob Cohen of the 23s are the doctor's guests. So guys, how we doing?
Hi, Doc. Hi.
We're good.
You good?
Doing good. Doing really well. Guys, days are doing well for you and everything?
Not bad.
Busy. It's been a bit stressful, but yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, well,
we're here.
Nowadays, a lot of days are like that. But you know what?
Yeah.
You pump through them and you come out with a smile on your face, and that's the most important thing. So, so Anita, tell us a little bit about yourself and your music.
Okay. I started off as a bass player, really working in bands with Rob years ago. We used to support Rob's band, and we knew each other.
Well, we actually used to support her. I think you forgot which way around it
was, baby.
But yeah. She were in a bigger band at the time, and they got a bigger following.
Maybe.
And we supported you at Leadmill.
Yeah. So I started off playing bass for years and years. I mean, to be fair, as a child, I started off on keyboards, and that was my sort of big thing: piano, keyboards, writing music, all of that. And then I just was obsessed by bass for some reason. I just got obsessed with it.
I think Doc plays the bass.
Oh, do you?
No, I'm learning the bass. I'm a percussionist. I actually started off as a guitarist, and just like you, I'm going to let you finish your story, but I'd go in and take lessons, and my brother was doing it with me, and when he was doing his, I just stare at the drums, and I got just obsessed with them, and I switched from guitar to drums, and I regret not keep going and learning the other instruments. I regret that a lot, especially bass, and so I'm a baby beginner, okay. At the bass, but that's phenomenal. So go ahead. I apologize for interrupting on that.
No, it's fine. Yeah, so basically I did that for years and years, and then I got very sidetracked with working and just paying for life, and I didn't have the energy left. I'm a mental health nurse, and and I do Hockey Health and that sort of thing, and it just drained me so much. I just had to basically shelve it, much to my disappointment, and I shelved it for quite a long time. I intended to work for about 2 years and then get back into it, and it's been about 15, 20. So big, long gap. And then I started to, I don't know, I got into a place where my work was a little bit easier, and I got more time. So I just had this lifelong ambition to write songs, really, and just continue that musical thing that I started. And I got, the technology to do it, which was hard, because when I was last in a studio, it was really like knobs and buttons. And so I had to learn from scratch how to do everything. I was Googling everything. I was asking everyone. Oh my God.
It did help that you were friends with Steve.
Yeah, but not at first, you see. Well, I was, but at first I just did everything myself because I was so intent on getting it right myself. And then Steve came in, and he was really good, and he knew things. So I thought,
that's the producer, Steve.
He's produced all the songs, well, most of the songs. And and I just decided, because I've been on a bit of a spiritual pathway as well. I've been doing a lot of sort of developing myself spiritually, if that makes sense, and getting into sort of deeper spiritual things. And I wanted to bridge the gap between spiritual sound healing music and just pop music, because I thought there was a big gap there. And I think it's amazing that you can put healing frequencies into music. And, even scientific evidence is showing that these things can change things and work and help people. And I just thought, the trouble is, if you show somebody a didgeridoo, some people will just run for the hills. If you put like some of the serious sounding the music on, like Jonathan Goldman, brilliant stuff. But if you're not ready for that, forget it. Everyone will just go like, see you, So, so I thought, hang on, I'm into modern music. I like all sorts of styles of music. I want to put these frequencies into modern music. So I was trying to bridge the gap. So that's what I did. And it's still an experiment now. It's still an experiment, because I don't use binaural beats at the moment. I use just pure frequencies. and I align each song to a chakra point, if that makes sense. Now, I know not everybody knows what a chakra is, but
No,
if
I
you
do.
look into it, yeah, it's, you know, so each song, so basically there are 7 basic chakras, and each song is kind of connected to one of the chakras, and the song is about that emotion that's connected to it, and the frequencies are aligned to that part of the body and that emotion. So it should really, in theory, realign and balance that part of you.
Mm.
In theory.
So which chakra is Lemuria?
So Lemuria is the third eye chakra. It's the brow chakra.
Which is why they're lining it. I see the eye and the eye sees me.
Yeah. Because
I remember now.
Yeah, because I just thought, well, I'll start with that and I got this new like wave state keyboard that was amazing, and it just had all these amazing sounds on, and I just thought, oh my God, this is like, it literally wrote the first 2 songs. It was amazing. Still got it now. And I basically put all this Lemuria together, and because it was about the third eye, and it's about, maybe you might remember past lives if you believe in that sort of thing. It's supposed to open up your intuition. So I basically wrote about an old civilization, about the Lemurians, and I got a book about it. I read about it, you know, a supposed civilization. Not everybody believes that that was real, of course, and whether it is or not, I'm not here to prove that. But I just wrote about the lifestyle of what it supposedly was like, and some of the language that was supposedly used is in the chorus. So it was about, I guess, an old ancient civilization in the end. Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, open up Magpie Sally's third eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, you don't want his third eye open. You don't.
It might open up a few other things. It might rip a few other things as well.
Well, they're probably already ripped by the goat, but that's okay. So, but that's phenomenal to hear you say that, how you blended in that frequency like that. It's almost like, and this is a good way, so it's not done badly, but it's like a subliminal frequency or subliminal message sent through the music.
Yeah, it's kind of
a positive one, though.
Yeah,
no, that's what I just said. You know, it's not a bad one in any way, shape, or form. But it is subliminal if you think about it, because it comes through the music, and it's not just like standing out there so you hear it, but it's blended in. So it becomes a subliminal message. And again, it's a good one. Believe me, I believe there's those type of messages out there as there is, and there's not. And those aren't good ones. Those aren't good ones. But
no, I know. Yeah,
your intent is for pure, you know, good in all aspects. So that's phenomenal. And I wanted to bring that out because, you know, a lot of people think, well, she's sticking stuff in the music, well, that I don't hear. Well, shit, you know, you do hear it. You just don't know you hear it. And so, in fact, it's not putting any message in your head. It's not telling you to do anything.
It's not like the subliminal advertising that they used to use. Make you buy a burger. You know, when you went to the pictures and there was a big shot of a burger and you next to it with McDonald's. No, it wasn't. That wasn't my intention.
Speaking of that song, that even though she mentioned earlier that we'd met through being in various bands, and then a path kept crossing at different times, like obviously living in Sheffield, it's a very small city, so I'd bump into her and we'd get talking about music, and then I wouldn't see her for a while and then bump into her again. But it was Lemuria. She'd done this massive post on Facebook saying, as a treat to herself, she'd done this song and she'd gone in, got it recorded with Steve, and wrote this massive piece about it. And I thought, oh wow, great, she's got back into music again after all these years. And I put the song on and I was like, wow, this is amazing. So straight away I just replied back and I went, wow, that's great, I love this song. What's there not to love about this? It's amazing. And obviously that kind of reconnected us up, and then we started talking, and then as it happened, I could really help you with like artwork, and
I needed help because
technical stuff. And
at this point, I mean, I put a big long post on Facebook because basically I'd hit 50 and my life had not sorted itself out at all. I'd had no conventional life, no marriage, no children, nothing. It really, nothing had worked out for me at all. And I felt really like, well, what else have I got? And I just thought, this is my baby, this is my thing. So I decided it was a treat to me. It was a 50th present to me, basically. And it kind of hooked him in, I mean,
Yeah.
Steve said to me, I said to Steve, who was producing it at the time, I said, how do I get it onto digital platforms like Spotify or iMusic, iTunes? What do I do? He said, I don't know. I just produce. I have no idea. I might know somebody who knows. So I was so naive and this is only a year and a half ago. I had no idea. So thankfully, Rob came along and he said, look, if you want any help, just give me a shout. I said, boy, do I. I think I bet you wish I'd not asked now.
Yeah, I've done
Maybe
a
we
few.
should not ask me because
I've done a few favors over last year and on. Yeah.
So I've got some job for him to do now. He's probably cursing me.
And everyone, I just need to be the job guy, the person, the come-to guy for whatever people want. Yeah, artwork,
Oh my God.
like technical stuff, bits
The
of
video that we did, there's a
the video. Yeah,
on YouTube as
promotion.
well, the shorter version, because we couldn't use the whole length of the song for that video. And all the artwork he's done. And he's just got so much knowledge as well about, from doing it for years and years. It's been absolutely priceless.
I didn't take a break from it though, like you. I just kept, I kept going from like, started doing music, kept on going all the way through. I've never stopped.
Yeah, I am fortunate. I wish I could have. I really do. I was just so burnt out with, I think the kind of job that I had in particular was very stressful. And yeah, it was just, I had no sort of space left in my head to be able to do it, unfortunately. So hence the gap, but better late than never, eh?
No, you know what? You're not the first artist that I've interviewed that said, that's taken 15 to 20-year breaks. It's life, and especially, like in my band, when you get married, you have kids. Unfortunately, the band takes a back seat. Sometimes it gets put in the cupboard for a while, and that's life, and some pursue through it. And I personally think it can work. It may not be like you want it to be, but I think that the effort can be put in to all of it and still have a little time left over for the band. But a lot of lives can't do it. And you can't say anything bad or good either way. It's just life. It's the way life is. It's hindsight. It's stuff. Well, this, and this. Well, you did it for a reason. So that's the way it is. But you know what? It's good that you're back in. I mean, we're blessed that you're back in doing your music because you're bringing some great music to the table.
Thank you.
And so speaking of great music, dropping at you now is Railings.
could hold you just today, if you could hold me in some way, I'll rallies round my grave, hold eyes before you, if I could hold you just today. You are not to blame, I'd die before you, I will hold you one
Oh, fuck you, Magpie.
Oh, Magpie, I'm feeling sorry for him now.
Oh, don't be feeling sorry for him. He's a dick. Dude, you're just as sweet to you guys, but I get the other end of his ass. It's just, it's incredible. Like I said, I love him. He knows I love him. And so, Anita, share with us any upcoming projects or new releases you have coming out.
Yeah. At the moment, I'm in the middle of a song which is related to the solar plexus chakra, if that means anything to anybody out there. And it's been written for, it's a book actually. It's a book that my friend Catherine has written a book about herself because she had a big mental health breakdown herself. And she's written a book about her life. It's called Cultivating Mad Cow. It's available on Amazon and all of that. Quick plug. But it's great. It's really great. It's funny. It's heartwarming. It's traumatic. It's basically she jumped off a building to kill herself and at her lowest point, but she survived. And she's now got her legs in, bits of metal in her legs. But she's now doing so much to help people. She's back on track. And she's written this book. She's hopefully going to be doing a play. There is a play already that's been done, but she's hoping to get this play out on tour maybe soon if they can get the funding sorted out. But the book's out there. And so I've said for the last 8 years, I'd love to write a song for that particular thing. So that's one of the next projects. And it's called Mad Cow. And it's a bit like a 70s TV theme. That's all I can tell you. It sounds like Randall and Hopkirk meets, I don't know, Are You Being Served, which is a UK TV show. It's really retro. It's fun, a bit divine comedy, I guess, a little bit. But yeah, I can't wait to get that out, actually. And then I've got another song, which is about the crown chakra, which, again, you might have to look these things up if you're not into it. And that's about sort of opening up and creative things coming into your mind. And that's quite... it's a bit Eastern, isn't it? A bit spiritual Eastern, a bit dancey. It's a completely different vibe. Each song I do is very, very different in
very
style.
mystic Eastern, like with a bit of a beat and
bit dancey, bit chill out. Yeah,
it's hard to explain.
It's hard to explain. Yeah, because I don't like sticking to one particular style because I like that many different styles of music, and I don't know if that's a downfall or not. I'm still yet to work that one out, but I really like so many different styles of the music that I just can't. I find it hard to stick to a theme, So if I put all this into an album of chakras, then each one would be extremely different. Yeah.
There's
something for everyone.
So to get that frequency and the chakras to align or do what they do,
yeah.
Is it a repeated listening to that song, or is it like do you get that effect from listening to it one time, or
you should? And I'm just curious about that. You should get it straight away to some degree. I always think, if you're listening to a serious sound healing piece, it might be 5 minutes, it might be 20 minutes. So, but that's the more serious sound healing stuff. I guess this is kind of an essence of it. It's just a taster. It's putting the energy and vibes out there. But I don't think it really matters. I think, To be honest, you said when Robert first listened to Lemuria, he kept getting deja vu all the time.
Yeah, it was
Really
ridiculous. I kept like just thinking I'd done everything before for weeks
It
and
was
weeks
bizarre.
and weeks. And
It was really
it
bizarre.
was really freaky. Thank God it stopped.
Yeah, it stopped a bit now, but I'd like to think that sort of did open his third eye a little bit, maybe.
Was
It just-
that like maybe like an LSD trip?
Yeah.
I don't know what it was like. It definitely made my mind go a bit weird.
Well,
There it
even
is.
to the point where when we went to do the video for Railings to a friend's house, I mean, even to the point where we got there and he's got this like knocker on the door, this old fashioned, it's got a lovely old coach house and he's got this old fashioned vintage knocker. And he said, I've knocked this door before. I've been in this house before. He just knew the layout and everything. And he'd never been before.
Even when we went to film the video for Railings during that time, because I was still having all this kind of like deja vu going off.
Yeah.
I remember being in the church and filming, and I'm thinking, yeah, I've made this video before, I've done this. And I kind of knew, like when we were doing shots, I was thinking, right, I'm going to do this shot now because that's what I did before. It were absolutely strange. I mean, and maybe there's a more scientific explanation for it, but it was bizarre.
I've got another friend as well who listened to it, and she said, "Oh my God, I got these images of an ancient place that I'd been, and it wasn't about what the song that I'd written about, so it wasn't the place. She'd got something opening up about Vikings, about weird stuff, and Railings is kind of about the heart chakra. So I mean, it's quite obvious. It's quite a sad song, and it's meant to sort of help you heal when you've suffered loss or trauma, or. So you might get emotional first, and then it should replace that energy with a sort of balance, in theory. And my friend listened to it, and I didn't tell her which chakra it was for. She just said, "Oh my God, I got a real warm feeling here. I can't explain it," even though it's quite a sad song. And I said, "Well, that's good. It shows it's working there." I mean, I didn't test this stuff out. I just did it and put it out there. I didn't test it. So it's a good job it works. And she said, "Yeah, I've got this really warm feeling around my heart." So I said, "Well, that shows me it's working then." Yeah.
That's phenomenal. I'm just sitting here in awe going, damn. And that's unreal. That's totally unreal. And
what bizarre.
Oh, it is.
I think you have to believe in it a little bit, though. If you're closed off to that, it's not a magic wand. I think if you're the kind of person that thinks, "Oh, that's a load of rubbish," you're not going to feel it really. I mean, it might try and balance you, but if you're blocking it, I think you can put a wall up and it will block it. So I think you've got to be open to the fact that it could be true, I think, personally. But it helps.
No, I agree. I mean, I agree, but what if you don't know about the frequency and the chakra?
Yeah.
What if you don't know that, but you're just listening to your song?
I think
how does that work?
I think because if you've got a negative attitude that's like, this is not going to work, you actively put like an invisible barrier up, I think. Gotcha. Because I honestly do believe that thoughts are actions. They really do. Thoughts are quite real, really.
Yes.
I know that sounds strange to a lot of people, but so I think if you're just listening with an open mind, it could get through. Yeah, it could help.
That makes sense now.
Yeah.
What was that? Were you telling me about something? I think Anita was telling me about this other thing as well. That like if you get water in like a vessel and then put like a sticker on it and write.
It's Masaru Emoto.
Yeah, and that's amazing as well. All that kind of stuff.
Some people diss it and say it's fake. We've tried to recreate this and it's fake. But I think it's if you've not got that mindset, if you're not open to it and you're just trying to prove it.
But what is it now? You get a vessel and then you put like a sticker on and then you write a message on it and like of intent.
Well, he puts like a word, like he did experiments where he used frozen water and basically started off with water that wasn't frozen. He put a word on that said something like beauty or calm or harmony, something positive. And then he put another water bottle there with something like bad, hate, and then he froze the crystals he froze the water and looked at the ice crystals, and the close up, like magnified crystals are so different, and the hatred, negative words were so like sharp and jagged and broken, and the positive words were really beautiful and really perfect.
Mm.
And
Really?
it's just an energy. Again, it's just a thought and an energy. I think that, it's very real. I think your thoughts are very important, what you put out there.
I mean, they have proved stuff like that, haven't they, with the electrons? I watched this program about where they were shooting electrons through like a post box. Kind of, they got like a sheet of metal, and there were two gaps, and they were shooting these electrons through to another wall, and they were going in a specific place. But if someone watched the experiment while it were happening, it changed the result of the
Yeah.
experiment, and things like
Exactly.
that. I find, like, as clever as humans are and everything else, it's like there's so much we don't know.
Well, somebody did a test with plants as well. I don't know if you've heard about that one, where there's an experiment with plants where I think they did it with children as well. It was in a school or something, and they set these two plants up identical, and they had one group of children going up to the plant and saying loving thoughts to it, saying nice things to it, and another group going into this other plant and saying really bad things. And within a few days, the other one had withered and the other one was blooming.
Really?
I think
Well,
there's too much evidence, to show that it's.
They say everything in life has energy. There's energy in everything. And so if you believe in that, which, like you said, a lot of people don't, but everything, if you really think about it, has energy. It comes from something that is produced energy or is energy in itself, and then it becomes energy. And so everything in life is energy, everything.
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
so that it all totally makes sense. It does.
Yeah.
So, tell the doc, sort of energy, we're talking on energy. Tell me what role that you feel social media plays in getting your music out and connecting with your fans.
Yeah. It's a tough one. I think it can be really good for getting exposure and getting yourself heard, but it can also be extremely limiting as well. It depends where you get through to and how many people can see it. And it's a bit saturated, isn't it? The music industry now, it's really hard. I think if you can get through to enough, a big enough platform, or a big enough, like if you can get out onto radio, for instance, it gets through to more people. I mean, I'm not against playing live, don't get me wrong, but I've not ventured into that yet. I'm not ready for that quite yet. And I think I'd rather just get it out onto stations so it reaches more people more instantly than, do all these gigs. And I mean, it'd be great to get it out if people want that and it's necessary, great. But I'd rather just get it out there onto the airwaves, personally. I think you can reach a lot more people. Yeah.
You can. You're definitely right. But there's also too much crappy music that's taking up the airwaves that shouldn't even be on. And so, and I said this before in the interview, the good artists, the artists that really deserve to be heard, you get lost.
Yeah, I know.
And it is because, and this goes to one of my rants, but if independent artists would support each other more and share each other's music more, whether you know them or not, but just know they're an independent artist out there doing the same thing you're trying to do.
Yeah.
The attention brought to them and you would be so much greater than it is, but it doesn't happen. And so, social media in itself is great. Streaming platforms are great, but, my question always was promoting our band was, how many times are we being played? When are we being played? Are we in a rotation?
Yeah.
And promoters can't answer that. It's just like, I'll put you on this many places, blah, 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 take your money or whatever the case is. And you never know. And then you get buried. It has its good and its bad. And again, it's how it's used and how people perceive it. And again, to me, I just think, I appreciate any musician, any artist in any way, shape, or form that puts their work out there and tries.
Yeah.
Good or bad, they had the heart to do it. And there's so many people that will never ever do that, ever.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
and it's sad. So you appreciate what's put in front of you, whether you like it or not. It's an appreciation that it's like, I appreciate this person for doing it. It's not my taste, maybe, but
Yeah.
give them the appreciation for what they do. And it's just not, it's not done like it should be. And
No, I know.
and this is it's something that needs to be put back in. And so Spinning at You Now is the seed featuring the 23s.
Ah, yeah. Well, so the seed, that's that was an idea that I had. This is the root chakra balancer. So this is about material things. It's about, grounding yourself. It's all of that stuff. It's the lowest of the chakras generally. So it's kind of the bottom level. And I wanted to write about basically manifesting the life that I would like. And I was hoping that, the energies will manifest this in eventually. I'm still waiting to see this, but it is slowly moving. Let's put it that way. So I got the the song out, but it was only like kind of half finished. And I sent it to Steve, and he did it, but it was only kind of half done, and it just wasn't right. So Rob had a few friends. You had a few friends, didn't you? And you said basically, why don't we just get it out as, get some remixes on it, get some DJs on it, see what they do with it, put it out as a dance EP instead. And we did, and it worked really well, didn't it? So the 23s got involved. So Tom mixed it, didn't he? Tom mixed that one.
But basically, it went out to a lot because Anita got like this demo version, but she didn't feel like she wanted to put it out as it stood.
No.
She liked it, but it kind of just didn't tick all the boxes for her. So I said, well, in the meantime, send it out to a lot of my friends and just say, does anyone want to jump on board on this, mess about, do whatever, see what comes out of that? And then in the meantime, I think I started helping her, sort of like pulling it apart a bit and doing stuff.
Yeah.
And then I can remember she said, like, I want like bird song on it and like birds singing. And I was like, all right, let's see if we can do that. And then she wanted other stuff doing to it. And so I were in the studio kind of doing all these bits, and then it kind of came alive a bit. And then she said, it's not good enough. I mean, I'm not a producer like Tom. So I said, well, let's send this over to Tom and see what see if he can like polish it up into being a proper song. All the elements are there. It's just, it was sounding kind of a bit, just, it wasn't punchy enough. So it got sent over to Tom, and then at the same time, all these other mixes came back. So we had that mix and then all these other mix. And then you were like, oh my God, I've gone from like not being able to put out one song that I've got all these things to put out. So it went from one extreme to another. But yeah, it was kind of, it worked out well, didn't it?
Yeah,
really?
I'm quite happy with it. And I thought, well, it's a bit unusual. It's a 3-song EP. There are different versions of it. It was a bit of an experiment, but each individual one is very, very unusual. And the one that Tom's done is quite nice, isn't it? It's really sort of, it's very unusual.
Tom's got a definite ear for like making stuff sound right. I mean, he took that.
Odd. It's odd in a good way.
He took that demo that I helped Anita sort of kind of finalise to a point where it had got enough interest in it. He took that and he just crafted it and made everything sound like.
He tommed it.
He tommed it. Yeah. He made it all luxurious and nice and I love to put that record on and listen to it.
Yeah.
And it's great from my point of view to have been part of Anita's journey with what she's doing, that we got involved, and I'm sure all my friends that got involved were glad. And the fact that it's called Seed, she planted the seed and it grew out all over the place into all these other avenues.
Strange, yeah.
And working with Tom, he's a genius. I mean, Tom.
Oh yeah,
he's a genius. He really is. He blows my mind how smart he is with what he does. And so, kind of flipping, on the really, it's not a sad note, but unfortunately, band drama exists, and you've been in bands. I mean, you yourself said, you started off playing bass, and you guys were in two separate bands and kind of cross paths like two ships in the sea, at times. And so, tell me the creative differences that existed, and how'd you get along with some of the band members? Were they good? Did you have some bad times?
Most of the time, the people that I've worked with, I've been extremely lucky. There was a certain set of individuals in particular that it just worked. It was like magic, and it felt like a real close connection. We were all on the same wavelength. Sometimes in other bands, it's not been quite that way all of the time. I mean, if we've worked together, which one did we work on? Oh, Shasta. Yeah. Oh, Shasta. We did this massive. Oh my God. We did this massive, like we just put all our ideas down onto one track, and
it was like chaos.
Horrendous. It's chaotic.
I mean, my mind's like.
Love it. You probably love it.
I mean, my mind's like chaos anyway when I'm working on my own. But like with her input as well, it was like double chaos. It was like
it would blow your mind if I sent you the original form, the file of the ideas for that song. But basically, going back to your question, he put some things on that I thought they're good, but it's not what I want. So I literally just didn't mention them, and I just didn't put them into the mix. I let him down very gently.
Which I'm cool with. I mean, I'm all for sort of like throwing everything in the kitchen sink at it. I mean, like,
and then I have to sort out the wheat from the chaff, basically.
I mean, I've never been loose on ideas when it comes down to coming up with ideas.
It's like verbal diarrhea.
Yeah,
it's like, then I've got to mop up. I've got to pick out the solids from the liquid.
I've got so many ideas, but the problem is that I've got no. I'm just all over the place, aren't I?
You've got no stop button.
Yeah, I've got no stop button.
Yeah, sometimes.
I'm like literally just.
Just need to get it out.
Yeah, 100% all over.
There's no filter at all, which is fine. And I love him for that because I think it's quite genius, really. It's, that you've got so many ideas.
It's not genius.
It blows me away.
It's a problem.
Well,
sometimes.
It's both.
I mean, I've met people like Tom and Anita that like have got that thing of like reeling me in.
Perfecting things to some degree. I'm not a perfectionist really, but I have got a set idea of what I want. I know what I want it to be like, so I'm a bit inflexible sometimes, a bit stubborn. I like to think it's determination, not stubbornness, but some people would say stubborn.
Well, it's the love of what you've created. Number one, it's your baby, so you have an idea of exactly what you want. Now, others can add to that and maybe make it better or emphasize it in areas more, but ultimately that was your baby. And so you need to watch over it and not just give it up and say, yeah, do what you want to with it because you think it sounds better that way. Because in my head, this is the way I want it to sound. And
and I've got to try that first, and then I'll let people have a go,
But in the end, it's for you to listen to it and say, yeah, I like that. I like that better. I like that addition that you did to it. You're not going to listen to it and have somebody put something on and you're going, oh, that sounds like shit. You're not going to do that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So you're only going to say yes to what sounds good in your head and that you wanted it to sound like, or it's like, man, I never thought it could sound like this. I never imagined that it could expand to this level and sound as good as it does. It's beyond my expectations. That's what you want to think. So
and that's what happened really with Shasta, I think, in the end.
I think the difference is as well, sorry to butt in, but like Anita is a lot more, she's more classically trained than I am, and I'm a bit more I'm all over the place. I mean, times I've been sat playing guitar and she's gone, no, you're in wrong key. That what you're playing there, you need to be.
That's not classical training. That's just because I've got a very good ear. That's it. I'm not class. I had a few guitar lessons and a few piano lessons, but literally not many. Seriously, but just my ear's very precise. That's all.
I mean, it freaks me out that she can go like, I'll be playing something like playing a G, and she'll go, no, the chord that you need to be playing there is an A. Like when I'm playing like a cover, I'll be like thinking of a cover version and I'm like trying to play it and think of it in my head and she's going, no, it's not G to A, it's definitely G to F there and then it's this and it's like, how can you just know that?
It does my head in because it's like, oh no, it's not, that's not it. It shouldn't be like that. It does my head in. And I do his head in.
Well, you two guys are like a two pieces of a puzzle that's fit together. No, and that's in a really good way. And you both have talent that I think you recognize, but sometimes don't want to admit about your abilities. And when Rob, you say you're all over the place and you're not a genius. Well, that's not necessarily true. I mean, you are. You've got raw talent. You've got natural talent that some people will never have, or realize, and yet you do it, and I don't think you realize how well you do what you do. And same thing with Anita, with you and your ear and hearing. It should be this. It should be that. It shouldn't. You know what I mean? That's a gift.
Yeah.
We definitely are yin and yang.
Yeah. And it's been there for a long time, hasn't it? We've had it for long. These things we were born with, I think, it just seems to be a natural thing.
It is, and a lot of, like I said, a lot don't recognize that. So,
No.
I give you more credit than I can ever say, and appreciate that when I talk to my guests that have that,
Yeah.
and believe me, a lot of you guys don't have that. So, um, but it is, it's refreshing, and it really is, because as a musician, you can appreciate what you're really saying,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you understand it on a level where that's like a rarity, and it's just phenomenal. So, and so, speaking of rarities and stuff in rock and roll lifestyles, there's always been the three big ingredients that people talk about, which is associated with being in a band, which is, drugs, sex, and rock and roll. And so, again, being in a band, different bands, and as long as you have and were, spill it out on your experiences in those subjects. Come on, Rob. This is like the past. This is the past. I mean,
Yeah,
come
do you
on.
know what? To be honest, but for me, I've never been good on with drugs or anything like that. I'm just not. It doesn't suit me at all. So yeah, I've tried little bits of things in the past, but it doesn't actually do me any good at all. So I'm more drink. I used to smoke. I don't smoke anymore, but drink. I'll have a drink. But even now, I've had to cut down because I think as you get older, it's harder, isn't it? So back in the day, it was like every night we were out drinking. We had some phenomenal parties, like gigging all over the country, and oh my God, you name it. We've partied hard, we have.
Yeah.
But these days, it's kind of like it's a lot more sensible, isn't it? A bit more boring these days.
I'm more into just having a nice drink and chilling out and stuff like that. I mean, I don't need anything. I mean, my mind is absolutely wild. My mind is just, I mean, well, I don't know what's going off at best of times. Like when I wake up in the morning, I just think, oh God, I've got so much, and I go off into daydreams, and I'm thinking about stuff. I mean, when I were at school, I was told I were a nightmare because I were in another world. And people
Yeah.
say that to me now. They'll like say, "Oh God, Rob's in another world."
Yeah.
Like, I've even had
Zones out,
friends say
zones
like,
out.
"Oh, what's happening in Rob's world today? What's going off?" And I literally am like in my own little space, which is nice. It's a bit like I get into a very meditative kind of mindset,
Yeah.
and I just slip off and drift off, and then someone will go like, "Blah blah blah." And, like I'm like, What's going on here?" And like I've missed about 20 minutes of conversation. I'm off. I'm terrible, but I think that's due to like ADHD and just like I just drift off. If I'm not really concentrating, I'm gone.
Yeah.
I have to like really focus.
It needs a steak, a poke every now and then, But
Well,
going back to that drug, I remember one, oh my God, with Julian,
From Lazy
when I
Dolly.
was in this band called Lazy Dollies years ago, and I remember me and Julian going out and drinking, oh my Jesus, everything you could think of. We were up all night, literally had about an hour's sleep, and we were still on the whiskey in the morning. And we got up and staggered down to the studio and did a whole album. I don't know how we did it. I must have been about 23. I don't know how I did it. We literally were zigzagging in the middle of the road to get down to this, walking to get down to the studio. We walked in and then just blasted it out. I couldn't do that now. Amazing.
no, that would be a little bit hard now.
I just fall asleep now when I've had too many drinks.
Yeah.
Literally, I have about 3 or 4 pints, and then like I've got people prodding me saying like, "Are you going to wake up or what?" I'm like,
I can still do it, can't I? But not very often. I can still do it till early hours, but it's few and far between. It really is now. But you've got to have a bit of fun, haven't you? You've got to balance it. You just got to get the balance right now.
I mean, even when I have to take a sleeping tablet because I need to get sleep, and maybe I'm like, I've got to get a good night's sleep tonight. I can't take a full sleeping tablet because if I do, I'll be asleep for like all that night and the full next day. I have to like take a little bit because I think everything just affects me a lot more than like your average person.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing in one way. I mean, I'm a cheap date. But,
some people can do it though. I bet you can still party, can't you? I bet you can really still party. I get that back.
I do. I hate to admit.
I knew it.
I do.
Every day?
Yes.
I wish I still could. But well, no, I quite like the healthier balance that I've got now. But my God, if I could, I probably would.
I've been doing this for a long time, and every day, and I'm ashamed to say, but when I was in Mexico in October, too many nights on the floor. That's all I could say. Too many nights, just too many days waking up on the floor. It's like, damn, dude, learn your lesson. Learn your lesson. So, but speaking of Rob going off and stuff, I'm gonna flow this through the air and burn it up with "Ask for a Dream" by Anita Wake.
Ask for a dream.
A cup of tea
That's the magical Christmas song. That is actually the vocal chakra, that one. So it was kind of written, it was written as a Christmas song, yes, but it was kind of written to try and help people to voice their, manifest what they want in life by using thought, turning it into sound and vocalizing your opinions and saying to the universe, this is what I want, bring it to me. It's a bit like the root chakra in a way. It's like bring in what you want and not be afraid to say what you want in life. So yeah, that's basically what it's about. And we used Rob's wonderful intro that was part of something that Rob had written before, and he put it in, and it's very magical, and it's a bit Wizard of Oz, and and it's got this journey. So yeah, it's got a nice sentiment, and it's not too Christmassy. It's not too jingle bells, is it? It's kind of got a nice balance, I think.
No, it does.
It's not too sickly. It's very sentimental, but it's not too sickly.
No, not at all. And again, I think if you believe in your dreams and in your heart and where you want to be in life, I really believe that if you believe that, I believe the mind holds so much capabilities that people aren't aware of. And then when other things, affect you or enter you or hook up with you or connect, whatever word you want to say, it kind of aligns your path. And again, I believe bad things and good things that are put in front of you are done for a reason, to make a decision to go down a different path. And if you think about what happened to each of you 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, you wouldn't be sitting next to each other right now if that hadn't happened. You know what I'm saying? It would have lead you in different paths. You can say, oh, that was bad, that say I got a divorce, but if I hadn't got a divorce, then I wouldn't have done this. And if I wouldn't have done this, then I wouldn't have done this. And you can see where, even the worst things will take you down a path that will lead you to where you truly need to be. And you're going to say, God, if I hadn't have done that, made that decision, I wouldn't be here today. And I believe in that. I believe, again, it's in a way a destiny. Call it whatever.
I honestly quite believe in the fact that some things we've already decided what we're going to do before we get here, personally. I mean, I know not everyone's into the afterlife and all that, but I strongly believe in that. And I honestly think that sometimes we've already made this idea of what we're here for. And so I believe that everyone's got free will. I do think that. I don't think everything's planned out. But I think if you deviate from that pathway, it doesn't feel right, because you've kind of agreed what you're here for and you know what your purpose is. So I honestly feel that it doesn't feel right if you deviate from that. And I can honestly say I've gone down a pathway or two that's not been right. And my God, it took me a while to get back onto it. But as soon as I got back on track, I felt great. So I think it just shows that, yes, you've got free will, but if you're deviating away from what you really have come here to do, or what you think your life purpose is, I think you feel it. I really do.
No, you do. And I agree. And that goes back to how bands sometimes have to take breaks. Artists have to leave doing what they love for 10, 15, 20 years. And you feel that loss. You could be doing something very happy in those 10 or 15 years away from your music, but there's something missing. And I can relate 100%. So I know exactly what you're saying. It's like you're happy, but there's something missing, and it's the music part. And once you hook back into that, then that's it, and for me, that's, I think, whatever past lives or whatever, I mean, it all had to connect with music, because that is me, and that's what drives me. And I think musicians say, I love music, but there's other musicians that feel it. And it's almost like something you need to have to feel not happy or good, but it's a feeling that's missed. And it's like being plugged in. You're a lamp and you're working great, but you're like the second bulb, and then that second bulb pops on, and it's like, boom, I'm even brighter now than I was. Because I have that music and I'm in music. And I do what I do for this show because I love it. I love music. I love meeting artists just like you guys. your
Yeah.
music, Anita. I learned things. I've been in this industry probably before you guys were even thought about being born. Maybe I should say that. But I'm just saying that
How old? How old are you?
I'm not going to say that. You never get that out of the doctor.
Wow.
So, talking about before people were born, and you were just mentioning past life. Sorry to interject. You just reminded me about when my son was first born. It was when he first started talking. I mean, he must have been maybe just over one and a half. I remember like putting him to sleep at night and him telling me these fantastic things about, oh, before I came here, Daddy, I chose you to be my dad. And he told me he used to come out with these things, and I used to think, where's all this coming from? He'd say like, well, I remember going to see you when you were younger, when I was like really young, and like saying, "Oh, he's going to be my dad. He chose me to be his dad, and his mum to be his mum." And it were like, and I was like, "Wow, this is." And I've actually got some of it recorded, like some of the conversations that me and him had at night, because literally every night I was like, "What's he going to say tonight?" He used to come out with this fantastical kind of stuff, and that's when I started watching stuff about children, like about past lives, and these children that had gone on for years, like saying that they were aircraft pilots and they died in crashes and stuff. And I find stuff like that absolutely fascinating. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to interject that because it just came into my mind. And
That blows my mind. But I do believe in that. I mean, I've seen too many things with children that talk about things, and even children, and people don't, you can believe in it or not, about spirits or stuff, but you see these little kids sitting in their high chairs talking to somebody and knowing their name of their uncle that passed away before they were even born, and here they're in a high chair. And they're laughing and giggling and pointing and saying, I'm talking to Uncle, Willie or whoever. And you can't make that stuff up. How are you going to get a 1-year-old or 2-year-old to not know they're being videotaped, number one, and look at the video, who's videotaping them, and then say things like a script and act in those ways? It's impossible. And so I believe that when we're a child, I believe it's almost like a movie, and I can't remember what it is, but you get to a certain age and your mind is open, and you know all the answers, like, to the universe, and it's like you just know it, and then when you get to a certain age, it closes, and then sometimes it doesn't, because I don't think I've ever seen interviews with the children when they get older saying what they remembered. I've always seen young ones, and Rob, you may have done that since you watched a lot, but it's usually just when they're young, they talk about
my
it.
son stops talking about all these things about that he lived in Africa before, and he used to be a cameraman, and all these things he used to tell me about when he were about 1 or so. But when he got to about 4 years old, everything stopped. And I've even said to him, like at 5 and 6, I said, "Can you remember when you told me about this?" "No, I can't remember." "What you're on about, Daddy? I don't understand what you're on about."
Yeah.
But
See, I believe that. I believe that. I believe it shuts off at a certain point in your life, and you no longer remember. And that's a perfect example, So
And actually, I'm just thinking back to it. I mean, this is not quite the same, but when I was maybe about 13, 12, 13, I remember sort of subconsciously kind of experimenting with something, which was actually the law of attraction, which I didn't know. I didn't realize it was that. But I remember at school trying to imagine certain scenarios happening and certain conversations happening. And I used to, like when you go off on a daydream and I just used to really imagine it happening because I wanted it to happen. I kind of willed it to happen, and it happened. It actually used to happen. And then I'd forgotten about it. And it was years later. And I thought, oh my God, that was the law of attraction and it was working. Why did I forget about that? Christ, I could have had such a different life if I'd remembered. But it's just weird. It's just weird. The power of the mind is absolutely, it's phenomenal, really. I don't think even we know how to really use it. You've got to really sort of focus and tap in on it.
So, Dr. Dog, if you imagine that, like, Magpie Sally's face is on, like, whatever you want, like anything, as a
On
meme.
a pitchfork.
I'm sure
On a
it'll happen.
pitchfork.
I'm sure it'll happen in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You can manifest like Mike Sally's face on anything you want. You know what I mean? It's you.
You can imagine him in any scenario.
Yeah.
Be kind. Be kind. Okay.
Believe me, I'm going to be doing that a lot. I guarantee you. It's going to happen.
I want to see the pictures.
You got it. So, speaking things that are kind of fucked up, to tell Doc about, the competition in the music industry, we kind of touched a little bit on this. I did a little bit of a rant. The competition in the industry can be, fucked up and underhanded and sneaky and backstabbing.
Yeah.
So tell Doc a little bit, of some of the things that you've encountered with those issues.
Well, one story comes to mind straight away, and basically, again, it was back in the days when I was in a band playing bass, and we entered this sort of music competition. It was a Doc Martens competition. It was quite a big deal, and we got through to the final, and we played down in London at the Astoria, and everybody. There were quite well-known people on the panel. The head of Warner Chappell was there, and the prize was to win a publishing deal, basically. And they unanimously voted us to win on that night. We smashed it. We won this publishing deal. And then about a month later, we heard nothing. And then they said, right, come down to Nomi Studios in Islington. Come and play for us. This was the guy from Warner Chappell. And we got there and we played a full set, and we heard nothing again for about 2 or 3 weeks. And we finally sort of got hold of him, and he said, "Nah, I can't market you. Sorry." And he gave us $2,000. And I thought, do you know what? I mean, but as it happens, we spoke to people afterwards, because and we didn't have any money to go to court or anything like that. We couldn't sort of argue with it. And we just had to use the money basically to buy some equipment. But afterwards, somebody said, "Oh my God, that guy that was running the company at the time, he was a right maverick. Nobody liked him. He fucked it up. And basically, you just got unlucky. If it had been somebody else from the company, you would have had that publishing deal." But, it's like going back to what you said about things they weren't meant to be maybe at that time, for whatever reason. But it was so sad, because we really thought we'd nailed it. We really thought we'd made it,
It's how they deceive you and making you think. I mean, there's a lot of deals out there from record labels that will confine you and cage you, and and then you end up in the end getting screwed. It's just sad that promoters, promotions, the labels, the industry has got such a bad taste. Right now that, to me, it's just astounding.
I know.
From where it used to be.
Yeah.
It used to be good, and in the beginning of the Doc's band's age and stuff, it was good. It was decent. And you had to fight 100 times harder than you do now, because there was no social media and things like that. I mean, you had to play live. You had to put your pictures or billboard on, or posters up on telephone poles and get the word of mouth and get the following. I mean, you had to work hard, but you loved it. See, that was the thing, is you would play till 3 a.m, get up at 7 and go to work, get off at 5 or 6 and get there and start playing at 9 and play till 3 or 4 a.m. and do the same thing over and over again. And because you loved it. And so it's it is what it is, but I just think it's sad that independent artists get put in a cage with a ceiling on it, where you can only go so high, and no matter how good you are and how hard you try, it's so hard to break out of that ceiling. Some do, and it's happening more and more, but it's hard, and I don't think a lot of bands and listeners, especially the listeners, understand that. So let's just kind of ask, since we're on that subject, what are some of the things that you've had to sacrifice to be where you are today?
My sanity. I don't think no, I think, God. Well, for a start, I had to sacrifice music for a long time just to pay for the roof over my head, which was annoying to say the least. And it still is to some degree. I mean, I value my job, don't get me wrong, it's not that. But, it's annoying that I can't make enough money to do the one thing that I really want to do, that I've always wanted to do since I was born. It's really hard. And I think I've had to sacrifice a lot just to, the for me, it's been the journey, the spiritual journey that I've been through, the traumas, the letdowns, the relationship difficulties, the financial difficulties, the stress, the physical problems, the health problems. All of that has actually led to me doing what I'm doing now. And I think it's been very important to get me to where I am now so I can value it. But it's so draining and it's so annoying that I've had to go through that, So I guess I feel like I've sacrificed a lot of myself to even get to where I am now, and I'm very new. I'm very unknown to some degree. I don't know where it's going. I'm really just taking a leap of faith with it.
No, you pursued. You're meant to do this because you pursued it, even though you took time off. It's still a passion. A lot of great musicians and artists take the time off, but then at the end say they don't go forward. They stopped. They wish they'll pick it up, do a little bit here, a little bit there, but they don't commit back to it. And in Rob, you've never stopped, and that again shows that you were born with natural talent and ability for music to be just kept going through the sea of music, the sea of life, and that's credit.
I've had loads of situations that have tried to stop me, but I've kind of ignored them, and it's not worked out well. But I'm glad I kind of just stuck to it. I'm glad I just thought, well, I'm going to carry on doing this regardless. I think the problem is if you stick to your guns with doing music, you tend to there will be people that you upset because it's going to get in the way for some people in some relationships, in some circumstances, in family and everything. But I mean, I guess you just have to stick with what you love and what you believe in. I mean,
and so not everybody's got your best interests at heart either. Not everybody's behind you, even though they say you are.
But your family and your friends should be, whether they agree or not. Okay, they should be by your side. And so, but ultimately, the way I look at it is this: I have to look at myself in the mirror every night or every morning or whenever, and I have to like what I see. It means I have to be me. And if you don't like the way I look, you don't like, I've got long hair, you don't like you don't like this about me, that's okay. But fuck you. I don't care. Yeah, okay, exactly. I'm not doing it for you. I don't dress or act or look for you in any way, shape, or form. I mean, you see me on the show, you see me on the street, I'm the same person, dressed the same way, look the same way. I am who I am, and you've got to be that. And some people don't accept it. It's like, well, you need to act your age. Well, what the fuck is my age? It's how old I think I am inside.
Exactly. The amount of people that have told me to as soon as I got a normal day job, which I had to eventually, I mean, I was probably in my 30s, and the amount of people that old schools that turned around and said, "Oh, I'm glad you've grown up a bit now."
or you get it, you're in music at how old are you? And you're doing music? It's like, what the hell?
I understand that you've got to take responsibility and pay for things, which is fine. And we all need to work for a living to some degree. I get that. But it was just that kind of thought that because you still want to play music and be in a band, that you're just being really childish about it. And it's like, no, I am actually responsible. I am working as well. But that is my passion, and it always will be. And but people who don't have that sort of ambition or that sort of drive to, or goal in life will never understand it. They'll never get it.
They've been conditioned to say, when you get to this age, you do this. When you get to this age, you act this way. When you get to this age, you're this way. And you know what? That's not the way it needs to be, and that's exactly it. Oh, I'm too old now, or I can't do
Yeah,
that. It's like, yeah, well, you're too old and you can't do that because you think you're too old and you can't do that because that's bullshit. And it's just
yeah,
total
yeah.
bullshit. And it's like the Peter Pan syndrome I always tell people I have. It's
Mm,
like I'm never going to grow up. I have responsibilities as an adult and I meet those, but
exactly.
if I grow up and become, no matter what my age is, then I think your brain transforms. I think your mind starts resetting itself to think that way. Oh, I need a nap now, or oh, I need to get on this pill or that pill, or I need, what? It's your brain. You're telling yourself that, and your brain is switching and
Mm,
into that mode. That's what I believe, and that's just my
yeah.
opinion.
I, I
And I do
think your
have a
mind doesn't
PhD,
help.
so I think
Yeah.
I know something, but I just think it's a mindset. With anything in life, it's a mindset. And
Yeah. I mean, I nearly gave up when I hit sort of 40 onwards. I actually thought I'm too old for this now and I've missed the boat. I really seriously thought, oh my God, I can't do this. I've missed the boat. It's too late. It's never going to happen now. And
you
I
know,
actually gave up. But I mean, I did have some friends at the time that were very encouraging and, and that was good. And I thought, well, why not? Why not? There are lots of people that are older that are making music that are still talented and still get somewhere. I mean, it's why put an age limit on it? So
you don't stop until you have to stop. Meaning, like, I'll keep playing drums, I'll keep doing what I'm doing until I can't lift my arms up, until
yeah,
I'm in a
until
bed
no,
or
until
dead.
Magpie puts arsenic in your coffee, basically.
Oh shit, Yeah, like I said, I sometimes don't have to worry because he's in the freaking goat field with the goats so much that I
Is
mean,
it a scarecrow?
he's a goat dicker. I mean, you know what? He really is. I mean, you just to call him Magpie the goat dicker Sally, and you would have him nailed. And you just answered a question I was going to ask you because the
Oh
doc
no.
thinks about this a lot, which is working with Magpie. Has there ever been a time you just said done? I'm done. Fuck it, no more. Just I'm over it. And you just answered that question because it does come up. And
Yeah.
so musicians out there and again listeners. I mean, being an artist, putting out great songs, being in a band. A lot of bands think they're more than they really are, with that superstar complex, but it doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
hard. It's a hard journey to go from point A to point B in the music industry and with your music. And even though people say, well, it's so easy to get it out there nowadays and to spread it. Well, yes, that is true. But
Yeah.
it's not like I'm the only one being played. It's not like my name's are magically going to appear in their head that look me up and listen to my songs.
Mm,
It's a hard journey, whether you're
yeah.
producing them, you're coming up with them, you're recording them, you're distributing them. It's a hard journey, and that's one thing I think we've touched on is that sacrifices, and it's a hard journey, and so to refresh that, here's another version of the great track, "The Seed" by Anita Wake.
The seed of creation in you.
Lean's version.
Yes. Yes, it is.
All right.
Lean's version, yeah. So
Yes.
that is quite. You see, I like that. I mean, I know I'm not really into dance music. I'm not, but I really like that, and it really gets me. It gives me that feel good factor.
Well, it does. And you said
Yeah.
your tracks are different, and that's
Yeah.
definitely it's a great vibe to it. It's a great energy to it. But it still has your signature on it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good song. That one I really had a chance to listen to. And I really liked that a lot. I did. That
Yeah.
really kind of just went. That was a good
Yeah.
track.
Bizarre,
So
isn't it? I mean, like I say, it's not really my sort of music that I normally listen to or think about writing, to be honest. And his mix of it was completely different to what I'd done, really. But he's captured the essence of that sort of chakra really as well. Brilliant.
I think everyone that got involved on that track that we mentioned earlier, on the seed, is that the brilliant thing about it. There were DJ Steele who did a track. There were Lean, which is Lee Newiser, and there were Tom that like kind of did what we'd done together and made it like into a proper record. And then Lean did an extended remix as well. But everyone brought their own vibe to it.
And
which is cool.
Steele's, we didn't feature Steele's because we had to pick so many. Steele's is not featured, but that's not by any means because it's not good. I mean,
it's an amazing track.
It's very dark.
That's really dark and sort of like Portishead-y. It's kind of, and it's got all speech samples in it, and it's exactly the same. It's Anita's song, but it's just his take on it, and he put a lot of. I mean, we didn't really give him any input. He just took away all the seeds of the track and then worked on it. But he put all these kind of speech things saying you'll get what you want in life, you've got to attract it, which is what the song's about. So he totally got the song and put all these bits in, and his version's great.
Yeah, because some of the bits that I've put in as well, I mean, he put some great bits in, but the initial thing, the seed, the voice, that's actually Cryon. And now I don't know if you've heard of Cryon, but Lee Carroll is a guy who channels this person called Cryon, allegedly. And he's absolutely amazing. He's such a bit of a prophet, really, I'd say. And you either believe him or you don't, but he's been going since the 70s. And if you listen to some of the things he's come up with and the things that he's actually said were going to happen and do happen, it's amazing. Oh my God, he's very deep. He's great. He's really good. He's a modern day guru, He's great. Yeah, so I got his voice on there. Yeah. So, oh God, I forgot earlier, Lemuria is going to be used in a film.
Ah, yes.
Congratulations.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, it has been used in a film.
Well, it has been used in a film already, but it's going to be out in a bigger way this year. But there's some people that I know, actually, and they've got a film company called Far North Film Company, and they've written a film.
Well, this is their second film.
The second film, yeah. So the first film was Playhouse. The second film is called Black Daruma, and that's going to be out. Well, it's out sort of unofficially, isn't it?
We went to the Lone Showcase night, and I must say it's one of the best films. Especially
it's a horror film.
For like an independent filmmaker.
It's amazing. And it's all filmed in Sheffield as well, which is great. It's quite a local, gritty English film.
I mean, obviously, I didn't know what to expect. You didn't know what to expect. And we just went along. Obviously, Anita's song's on there. And we went into the cinema and we sat down. And obviously, we can't talk about it because people aren't going to go and watch it if they know like what's going on. But it literally sat there and it came on, didn't know what to expect. And I'm like, wow, this is unusual. This is really unusual. And then it's like, wow, that actor's great. This is a great storyline. This is great how they filmed it. And I'm thinking, for like independent like filmmakers, that Black Daruma,
it's amazing.
One of the best films I've seen. And in fact, we're desperate to try and get a copy of it onto DVD. Once it comes onto DVD, I mean, their first film went onto Netflix.
Yeah.
Playhouse were on that, and I think
Amazon Prime.
Yeah, and this film's obviously going to.
They're just talking now with publishers, so they're trying to, because they've launched it, but they're trying to sort of get a publishing deal now, and I think they've got a publisher involved now. So hopefully that'll get launched, and it might become a bit sort of available on platforms and Netflix and things like that. Maybe, we don't know, but it's amazing.
I think it's going to be a cult classic, definitely.
It's a very dark comedy type sort of horror, but I don't want to say comedy because it's not really. It's just got comedic bits in it, but it's more a sort of.
I think it's not comedic, but the actor who's playing the lead part goes so insane in it, and he acts it so well. Yeah. You like, it scares you, but you like laughing. It's like
it's got some funny lines in it as well.
Oh yeah,
it's quite funny.
It's such a good film,
but gritty, and it's a typical English horror, really. But it's great. It's really good.
Kind of reminded me of like Hammer House of Horror type thing, but obviously done in a more modern way, and like really out there. Like,
to be fair, my song's very the tiniest bit of song in there that you blink and you've missed it, really, but it's in there. And then but they play it at the end as well on the credits, so it's good exposure for me, and I'm good exposure for them, and we're just helping each other out, I guess.
Well, that's just a compliment of your music to be put in there.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to what best suits whatever's happening, whether it's a movie, a video, whatever. If they didn't feel your music was well suited for their movie, it wouldn't be played at all. Period. Somebody else would be being played. So that's just a tribute to you again and your talent that you possess, that you've always possessed, and you still possess, and you always will possess. So speaking of that. Tell us where we can find you, your music, any videos, what platforms, what's the best way to get a hold of you, Anita?
Okay. The best way is probably through my website, because it's the only place where all of the links to all of the platforms are there, and all the videos are there, the songs are there. It goes through to Spotify, to Apple Tunes, to
Deezer, remember the website?
To like all the main sort of platforms. There's all sorts, and it's all linked up. So it's www.awakemusic.uk.
Yeah, correct. Good job.
That's good.
And Rob did the he invented the sort of website.
I didn't invent it. I built it.
Well, you built it.
I didn't invent it.
So
Edison.
So tell us again, Anita. Tell us your website again.
www.awakemusic.uk.
Hey guys, you got it.
That's the best place to find it.
You definitely have to go and check Anita out. You've got to go and listen to her songs, and believe me, the doc's going to do that after the interview. I'm going to listen to every single one of them is more intensely than I did the first time. Because I always do that to get an idea of the genre and the music. I don't sometimes, if I have the time, I'll listen to the whole song all the way through. A lot of times I listen to, maybe 30 seconds in, a minute in, just depends. And then I get an idea of what your genre is and what type of music you're playing. Because it's hard to compliment music if you're just pulling it out your ass. I mean, anybody can do that. Oh, that was good. But I like to say, what I like to say about the track or about the music. And so it kind of prepares me for that. So listeners, believe me, go listen to this. She's phenomenal. Her music is phenomenal. Plus, if you believe, and you should in life, it can bring maybe some good positive things into your life and maybe open things up for your life. So, definitely go check her out. She's given you her the information on her site to go check her out. So do that. And before you guys have any closing words you want to say?
Yeah, just check out that EP and all the extra tracks that you haven't already played in your show.
And I think from a spiritual point of view, I'd just like to say that, I believe that sound healing is actually it's about frequency, but it's also about intent. So it depends what your vibe is and your energy is when you put that out. So I think it's a mixture of both. So it's not just about the physical side of it. It's about the the love that was put into it and the energy that I'm trying to put out as a message as well with the song that should come across.
Well, that's how music touches people, with that
Yeah.
emotion and that feeling and that energy. So
And that's the amazing.
And the intentions are good. The intentions are good.
And that's the amazing thing about music anyway. I mean, all music, even I know Anita's doing stuff with like all these kind of chakras and extra, all these kind of things going off in it. But I mean, just music in general, everyone, I mean, that's one thing I don't understand in life is that it's so important, music, and yet like governments don't put money into it. No one puts money into it. People are almost destroying it, like destroying the business itself and messing it all up. And you think of it, end of the day, like if you watch a film, if you even adverts that you don't want to pay attention to, music's on everything. It's everywhere. And it's like when you come home from work after having a bad day at work, you put your stereo on or Spotify on or whatever it is. If you're listening to old records, however you listen to music, you go, right now, I need a whiskey and Dark Side of the Moon or whatever it is that you want to put on.
Yeah.
And you just lay back. And for 40 minutes, you can forget all stresses of life and just go into that world. And I mean, music's just so.
Well, you can't, if you had a world without music, can you imagine how dull and bland it would be? Oh my God.
But the parents, and the schools don't realize they're looking at it as they want to get them ready for a certain thing in life. But so many schools now are taking the music out, or they're budgeting them so low they can only do so much. And I think it should be the opposite. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They should be expanding the music classes and
Exactly.
and expand, and like you said, have the counties, the cities, the governments offer something in music, especially to kids that can't afford it, or the families can't afford it, but they have that talent. I mean, I watch videos of kids 8, 9, 10 years old I'll never be as good as them as a drummer. It's like, shit, you're 10 years old, dude. You're just phenomenal. And it shows you that, again, as a child, if you start them early, they're phenomenal. I mean, they can just blow you away. So think, if they're that good at 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, what are they going to be at 18, 20, 25? It's going to be like, like Eddie Van Halen and Alex Van Halen, where they progressed as, through their family and different instruments and learning different things, and look where they ended up. I mean, phenomenal musicians, and adding something to the music, that will never ever be replaced ever. And
you just triggered a story actually for that, because when I was about 7 years old, I'd been playing keyboard since I was about 5, and there was nobody really hugely musical in the family, maybe distant family. But anyway, I'd start playing these keyboards, and my mum and dad didn't have much money at all. We weren't well off. And I was playing at my friend's house who had a piano, and they happened to be teachers, and there was a music teacher there. And he gave me piano lessons for nothing, because my mum and dad said, we can't afford it. And he said, I'll give them you for nothing. Seriously. That, unfortunately, I didn't carry it on. I was a bit too young to appreciate them, but I did it for a year or two, and it really got me into it, and it set me off.
See, people like that don't expect anything, that realize, I want to give you a gift of music. Those are people that are rare, and it's such a blessing when they do come into your life, or you become one that's like, I'll help anybody that I can, if you want to get into music, as much as I can, I'll help you and give to you. If it's my talent, I'll teach you, or whatever the case is. And it's phenomenal. Nowadays it's all about the money, 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 money. So, so guys, listen to that, open up your hearts, help out maybe the musicians and the bands that are starting out, maybe that need some help, give them some good advice, help them out, and help them be as good as you are, especially in the heart. So, listen to this interview because it's phenomenal. Well, and I should say, listen to this interview because it's phenomenal. And Anita brings some just awesome music and positive vibes behind it. You got Rob there with her. That's just a genius that doesn't want to admit to it. So I want to give him a bit. Oh, you know what? Wait a minute. I just got an urgent thing here. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. So I got a request to you, Rob, to ask you about you used to work in a sausage factory.
Oh, sausage factory, yeah. I used to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Well, you want to know the story behind the sausage?
Tom, is this Tom?
You
Is
want
he
to know
behind
the
us?
story behind the sausage factory?
Well, he just said, ask Rob about the sausage factory. And I can't see the name of who sent this to me, but it was blinking so fast. It was like it was an urgent thing I had to look at. I apologize for that. But he said, make sure you ask Rob about the sausage factory. I took it both ways. I didn't know how to take that sausage factory. That could mean both things. But so tell me, Rob.
So this goes back to when I met Tom from the 23s. I mean, I think that was second time that I met Tom from the 23s. I met him at college when I was studying art, and he was might have been studying video. I don't know what he was doing. Maybe he was just being Tom and just looking elusive and walking around scaring people. I don't know, whatever. And then I met him. I met him I started working at a place, a newspaper in Sheffield, and Tom was sat across from me, and it was like, oh God, it's that guy from college that scares people, and so I was sat on a desk with Tom, and he's just been absolutely insane as normal, but me and him just hit it off and had a laugh. And problem is, we were supposed to be working, and me and him were just bantering, and then what happened is everyone on the table just kind of got pulled in to this massive banter thing. So we're all just going off on tangents, talking rubbish, like having a laugh. I mean, we were working, we were doing as much work as anyone else in there. But then the manager came across, and he was stood behind me, and Tom was just like corpsing. And I'm thinking, what's going off here? Like, because Tom was like looking, and his eyes were going up, like as if to say, like, the manager stood behind you, and I'm like doing some big monologue, like joke in front of all table, and everyone's like suddenly just stops. And I'm thinking, why is everyone not like paying attention to this story that I'm telling? And then I turn around, and like the manager goes, "Are you busy then, Rob?" And I went, "Yeah, I'm just busy telling the story." About whatever it were, I mean, whatever fantastical story I got going to entertain Tom, etc. And then a manager just leaned forward and he went, "This is time to work when you're here. Just imagine that you're working in a sausage factory, and you've got to get because we were basically setting adverts." And you've got to do as many adverts as possible. So imagine you're in a sausage factory and every advert's a sausage. And then he just walked off, and like ever since then, obviously that became like a story about this sausage factory. But yeah. Does that answer that question?
I guess so. Like I said, I just got a request to ask you about the sausage factory. So, so again, the doc wants to thank Anita and Rob for being his guest. It was just a great time. And I want to have a big shout out to MM Radio, my mom, Magpie Sally, the Goat Dicker, Dogbone Studio, and Matt R, the Doc's Guru Tech that keeps him on the air. And the Doc's going to be back next week. Be kind to each other. Always keep on rocking. And, Magpie, fuck off. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
The good, bad, and the ugly with Dr. Dog. On MMIMM, the show where we get real about the ups and downs of band life.
To infinity and tastiness with MM Radio.